What's up, guys? Buckle up because you're about to enjoy an excellent Snaps game preview where we tell you everything you need to know about this weekend's game and probably some stuff that you didn't. Enjoy. Tennessee, Georgia. One of college football's, one of the South's favorite rivalries. I'll let you weigh in more about how the respective fan bases feel about this one, because I know both have other teams that they also hate, but it does feel like the Volunteers and Bulldogs have a lot of specific hate for each other. And this is all I'll say to Georgia, Aaron. Welcome to the playoff Thunderdome, because it's finally here for the Bulldogs. Playoffs on the line in Athens. Tennessee coming to town, the team that is currently ranked first in the SEC, and on the line for Georgia, Aaron, despite the fact that they've been so good, so dominant. You lose this one, that's 2 years in a row without even making the playoffs. From being right on the edge of a third natty in a row to now not even making the playoffs 2 years in a row. Where's our confidence level at going into Saturday?
All right, first off, Thunderdome, 2 teams enter, 1 remains or 1 leaves. I still think if Tennessee loses, they still have a chance to get into the playoffs. So
yeah, no shit.
Okay, so how is this a Thunderdome game?
God damn it. I guess you're actually right. It's just an elimination game for Georgia.
Thank you.
I'm like, guys, we have a tentative sponsorship deal in the works, and if this sponsorship deal does not get signed and come through in the next 2 days, I'm walking.
I'm just done.
I'm just completely done with the show.
I'm done with this.
I'm so sick of QB1. I'm so sick of him shitting over all my points after I put it. I'm just over it.
Just being honest. It's not. Yes, Georgia is in the Thunderdome. You said that right. This is not a Thunderdome game. Tennessee still has an opportunity to make the playoffs. Maybe hurts it a little bit, but this is, to me, thank goodness it's in Athens. Thank goodness this is not in Knoxville. I think that's a big thing right now. And for Georgia, feet against the fire. And then, like last week was you need to win the football game, no doubt about it. Like going into Oxford on the road, us against the world mentality. Let's go out there and win the football game. And obviously they didn't play well, but this is truly that moment. Like this is even to another level. Kirby looks at those guys in the face on Monday and says, guys, you lose, your season's done. Plain and simple. Like there is that hungry dog runs faster kind of mentality. Like this is truly that week for Georgia right now. Hungry dogs got to play faster, stronger, more aggressive. We ain't holding anything back. And for Georgia defensively, big picture, Tennessee has not had success against Georgia in 2 years.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart has this offense bottled up a little bit. And we've seen this offense for Tennessee kind of go like this and this and this and this. So thank goodness it's in Sanford Stadium, though.
And Tennessee has suffered mightily at the hands of Georgia in recent memories. When's the last good memory for the Volunteers? Is it that crazy Hail Mary? Yeah. But what's that? Nearly 10 years ago now? Probably like 8 years ago? Was that 16 or 17?
That might have been 2014 or 15.
Okay, so maybe even closer to a decade ago.
Yeah.
So the point is, it's been really rough for the Volunteers, and now you have a chance, Andy J. and Tennessee. You have the same chance that LSU had last week against one of their hated rivals that they had struggled against for a long time in Alabama. You have a chance to break them, both literally in terms of keeping them out of the playoffs, but also mentally, as now Georgia fans have to contend with the fact that, well, despite we think that we're so awesome, we haven't even been able to compete for a championship. We haven't even allowed ourselves the opportunity to win. You have that opportunity, Tennessee. Flip it, Georgia, you have the opportunity to do the same thing Bama did, to shut all that shit down, to say, no, we still are the big dog, and to get straight back to the top. Here's what's crazy to me, though. Unlike Bama, Georgia's going to have to face a much better defense when you talk about this Tennessee Volunteer defense. And this is fucking wild to me that we could be talking about a one-loss Tennessee team that is atop the SEC standings halfway through November, that is in the driver's seat for a playoff spot, Aaron, and that the defense would be the lead. This is a Josh Heupel team where the defense is why they're winning so much and why they're so good. This is
Who
a
does it
defense.
remind you of that we talked about a week ago? Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin.
Yes. Very similar.
This is more so, no doubt about that. But both those rosters, they understood that, like, if we want to beat Georgia, if we want to beat Alabama, we have the offense. Can we get the defense? Can we get the trenches? And Tennessee and Ole Miss have both put an emphasis on, being able to dominate the lines of scrimmage. It worked out for Ole Miss a week ago, and Tennessee, they beat Alabama. And now Tennessee has a real chance this year, just like they did 2 years ago, to beat Alabama and then to beat Georgia within a month and a half.
Mick says, but Tennessee's offense sucks. John says, but Georgia's offense sucks. So that is the thing. This is going to be a defensive battle.
Yes.
But so let's start with Tennessee's defense. Right now, I love stop rate.
Yep.
For the uninitiated, it's a very simple statistic. What is the percentage of time when the opponent touches the ball that their drive does not end in a score? So right now, 80.8% of the time when a Tennessee Volunteer opponent gets the ball, 80% of the time, they do not score. No points. That is third in the country. That is only behind Ohio State and Notre Dame. For reference, Ole Miss, top 10 in the country in this statistic, 75%. So you just got shut down by a defense last week that is statistically worse than the one you'll be facing this week. And at a time when Carson Beck is struggling more in his career than he ever has, he has to take on a Volunteer defense that's allowing a QB rating of just 108. They're second in the SEC to Texas in that statistic. Right now, quarterbacks on average, 56% completion, 171 through the air, 6 yards per attempt, only 6 touchdowns on the year to 8 interceptions. Like, Carson, you're going through it, and guess what? The challenge is only getting bigger.
I do think so. Zach in the chat says, I trust Kiffin's offense for Georgia more than Heupel's. I will agree with that. And I think there's two big differences between what we saw a week ago versus Ole Miss and what you're going to see this weekend versus Tennessee. One is a veteran quarterback in Jackson Dart, a veteran quarterback that's played a lot of football that like I said, just has seen it all, so that you're not going to surprise him as much. You have the best receiving core in America. I do think Tennessee at times has struggled on the outside, and it's partly to do with Nico missing some shots. But I think we overestimated how maybe good Tennessee's receivers are based on what we thought they were heading into the season. So this is a Tennessee team that not only has been winning because of defense, but has been winning because of Dylan Sampson as well. He's the best running back in the SEC. And you're going to go into the heart of Georgia's defense, which is that front seven. So I'm with you. Like, I think Georgia at home, night game, fans, fingers crossed, show up in a big way, make a difference, should rattle the young quarterback.
Hold on. You mean fingers crossed that Nico gets rattled, not fingers crossed that Georgia fans show up, right?
I hope Georgia fans make a difference.
You think Georgia fans would not? Like, what do you mean? Like, this is a massive game.
I agree.
Balls on the line.
I agree.
Is that how spoiled y'all have become already? Y'all arrived at the sit on your hands Alabama crowd this quickly?
It has been a disappointing season for Georgia fans in Sanford Stadium.
Guys, Georgia fans, if you are listening to this, I know you're probably listening to Aaron and want to rip your hair out. Or maybe you're not. And if you're agreeing with what Aaron's saying, then that's even fucking sadder. Because here is one of your traditional arch rivals. Like I said, your balls are on the line, but you have the ability to not just recover your balls, but again, to go over. If you cannot get excited about this game, then you have truly lost your way. Then all of your success has truly poisoned you and made you forget the face of your father.
They will be loud. If I'm a Georgia fan, if I'm Kirby, I'm just asking for consistency, not just on first down or in the red zone. Like, Georgia fans, like, the goal should be, you should not have a voice by the time you walk out of Sanford Stadium on Saturday night. Like, can you do that? And there hasn't been home games this year that Georgia's had to get up for. It's been Auburn and it's been Mississippi State. So, like, I get it. But like TBob said, like, this is your moment to truly make a difference. Tennessee's had moments, plenty of times to get wild. Like, we all know that stadium in Knoxville is absolutely incredible. And those fans are loud as hell, 100,000 people screaming and yelling. It's an enclosed structure, all that good stuff. Georgia fans have to be a major factor in the game on Saturday with a young quarterback and with an offense that has been kind of up and down this season.
Who has the better quarterback here? Statistically, I get that technically. Well, here's how it compares statistically. Basically, you could just say that Nico has less volume, but he's been more efficient. They both completed 65% of their passes. Carson's thrown for more yards and more touchdowns, but also way more picks. I think he's like 17-12. Nico's like 11-4. Who do you think has the quarterback advantage here?
Right now, I think Tennessee has a quarterback advantage.
Okay.
I think Nico, because of his legs, because of the offense, because of the weapons, and because of the running game, he has more support around him. And the dual threat nature in which he can play the position, I would say Nico right now. Carson is not. He played a better game a week ago versus Ole Miss, but I just don't know how a quarterback that has thrown that many interceptions in the past 6 games can go out there and confidently play football at the moment.
Okay, other questions that I have. Has Tennessee how and again, my hesitance here, guys, is because I'm not saying this. I'm legitimately asking it. How tested is Tennessee? I know they have the big Alabama win at home, but they have not played a good quarterback otherwise. And Jalen Milroe was not playing good quarterback at the time when they played. And
it was a good, really played bad first half Florida comeback victory versus Florida. Georgia did the same thing. So I think that's a net neutral on that one. I mean, they did play.
You're looking at common opponents?
Yeah, I'm just looking at common opponents. They played Mississippi State better.
No, I'm
like significantly better versus Mississippi State. Like Michael Van Buren threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns versus Georgia. Michael Van Buren was 10 of 26 for 92 yards, no touchdowns in a pick versus Tennessee.
Yeah. I guess it's more that just in Georgia, you have one of the most tested teams in the entire country. They've been in battles all year long. They played the hardest schedule in the entire country. I think that's something that maybe potentially plays into their favor, especially being at home. We've seen Tennessee struggle on the road this year, right? I mean, they lose to Arkansas on the road. They almost lose to Florida on the road. And now they got to go into Athens.
Well, no, they had Florida at home. They've only had 2 away.
Oh, they were at Florida at home. Okay.
They were at Oklahoma week 4.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at, though. This relatively untested nature of Tennessee in some ways.
Wild. Tennessee only has 4 away games this season. 8 home games, 4 away games.
How the fuck is that allowed?
I know. That's wild. I just saw
that. For me, Aaron, I think this is what UGA's path looks like to winning. I think it's a defensive battle where both quarterbacks struggle. I think UGA has to find a way to contain Dylan Sampson. We can talk more on that in a second. But I think if UGA is to win, it'll be because first and foremost, home field advantage. And then secondly, the experience of Carson Beck winning out over Iamaleava.
I do apologize. The NC State game was a neutral site. So 7 home games, 4 true away games, 1 neutral site game for Tennessee this year. I'm not going to keep saying it. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Like I've literally, I'm at the ends of my wits with this Georgia offense. I've been trying to say, similar to kind of how I felt like with Missouri towards the middle of the season, of you return all these weapons. The running backs you got in the portal are actually playing pretty well. You have Burden and this and that, and a veteran quarterback. Like at some point, it's just going to work, and at some point, this offense is just going to explode. And I was completely wrong. It didn't. It's not the same. Missouri's offense is just not good. And I've been waiting for Georgia's offense to finally emerge. Elite quarterback talent. Trevor Etienne is back at running back. The offensive line, even if they're not 100% healthy, should still be dominant. The playmakers on the outside should be better and more consistent. It's going to happen. And it's just not. So, like, for me, I'm done hoping and praying that this offense is going to be good. As a Georgia fan, you need to pray, and that's why I say be a difference in the football game. The defense has to win it, and the defense has to give Georgia short fields. Georgia has has an incredible inability to drive the field and score points right now because they cannot create explosive plays.
And it doesn't seem like it's going to
you have zero faith in the offense. Zero faith right now.
I will say, although Tennessee's defense is awesome and the D-line is awesome, they don't have a ton of sacks this year. I don't exactly know why that is. So the pass rush not nearly as fearsome at Ole Miss, despite having Pierce and everybody else. But look, we've gone too long here. Dylan Sampson's the guy.
Yeah.
Tennessee's running back. He leads the SEC 125 rush yards per game. He leads the SEC with 20 touchdowns, which, by the way, Jalen Milroe's second with 16. Sampson averages 5 yards a carry. If he has a good game, I think that probably puts Tennessee over the top because it allows him to control the flow of the game and it kind of takes the home crowd out of it. How do we feel about UGA's rush defense? Statistically, it's not terrible, but if you look at when they struggled, Kentucky, it's not like Kentucky dominated, but about 3.7 a carry, doing enough to control the clock, stay on the field. That game ends closely. Alabama had the most success of anyone running the ball. We all know how that went.
Yeah.
But that's all Jalen, to be fair. But Nico has a little bit of that in him. You absolutely shut down Texas, and that's the difference in that game. But then against Ole Miss, it's kind of like that Kentucky game where about 3.7 a carry, they did enough. How do you feel about the Bulldogs being able to stop Dylan Sampson?
So 2 years ago, Georgia held Tennessee to 2.2 yards per carry, 94 total yards. This just goes to the overall theme of like Georgia against this offense. Last year versus Tennessee, Georgia's defense held them to 103, a little worse, 5.2 yards per carry, but still only gave up 13 points. I think they'll be fine. Like I think Sampson will get some runs. He'll get some explosives. He'll get some yards. This is, to me, it's not Dylan Sampson. He's talented, but if Nico cannot be accurate and decisive and make the right, because Nico's had some issues with making the right reads in the RPO game, the run pass game, of throwing it when he should be handing it and handing it when he should be throwing it. If he has a clean game with reads and he's accurate, I think Dylan Sampson could have a monster game. Like, I agree, like Georgia's defensive line's good and really good, but you're talking about the best running back in the SEC. If he gets light boxes, I think he can have a good game. But it's still, to me, it relies on Nico to make the right decisions and to throw the football well.
I would say so, and I'm still banding. I mean, I'll have a pick here in a minute.
10-point favorite for the Dogs.
No, I know, but I'm not really paying attention to that. I would take Tennessee. I'm still going back and forth between who I think is going to win. I will say this: some of the mystique was shattered a little bit of UGA with Ole Miss, where one element of last week's game that I liked for Georgia was the fact that when they have to, Kirby's teams generally lock the fuck in, and it just didn't happen last week. However, okay, I finally made a choice. However, there's a large enough sample size where I would say that's the exception, not the rule.
Okay.
And as good as Tennessee's defense is, they are not the overwhelming pass rushers that Ole Miss was. I think that overwhelming pass rush is what allowed them to completely shut down Carson. I think that Carson has a better week this week. I think the home field advantage is too much for me here. I'm going Bulldogs to win.
I'm with you. I think the
fuck.
What, you don't like the fact that I'm going with them too?
No, because now I feel like we're going to be wrong.
I do too a little bit. I think Tennessee covers. I don't know. I am flabbergasted that it's a 10-point spread right now. I think this is a close ball game. I think this is a defensive struggle, or an offensive struggle. Right? Shouldn't it be themed?
I mean, it is the offense is struggling, but we call it a defensive struggle, which I've never considered before. You're right. That's a bit oxymoronic.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But whatever. I think both defenses show up. I think it's going to be an incredible environment. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think you'll get some mistakes on both offenses forced by great defensive play. I think this is a field possession game, special teams game, all that crazy stuff. But I think Georgia squeaks by 20-17.
I will say the 10-point line is so stinky that it makes you want to almost be like, okay, something's up here. Georgia's going to win. And I mean, I get it. It's at home. Tennessee struggled on the road. I
Georgia
still
was
have.
also a 3.5 point favorite versus Ole Miss last week on the road, which is Vegas saying that's about a touchdown favorite for Georgia.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I liked Ole Miss in terms of how it matched up with Georgia a bit better than I like this game. Yeah, give me Georgia barely in a close one.
No, Andy J, I do not think anyone gets into the 30s in this game.
Yeah, it's hard to see, even though sometimes these are the games that have a funny way of like doing the opposite.
This will not be one.
What happens to the Georgia psyche and how we talk about Kirby if you miss the playoffs for a second year in a row?
Luckily for them, at least the schedule's not difficult going forward, so you'll still be 9-3. And I guess someone in the chat said Heather Dinich was saying today that a 9-3 team could still get in, especially if it's Georgia. I don't see there any way in hell.
Okay. Do I need
a lot of chaos would have to happen.
I think I might. No, it would definitely require.
It would require a lot of things to happen, which I not a position you want to be in, and a position I don't think would happen. Oh, here we go.
If we go to our playoff chart here.
Here we go.
As we said, with with Miami losing, it's likely that the ACC only gets one team in now, right? So we almost have for sure 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten teams getting in. But the wild card here is Notre Dame. Okay. Let's say Notre Dame loses, spots open. That's where your 9-3 Bulldogs could sneak in because they played such an impressive schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the chart never lies, guys.
Notre Dame is the one. Like when I was talking last night at the event, I was trying to go through in my head of like, okay, these are how many spots are left. And I got to the SEC and I was like, wait, there's still 5 more spots left for SEC teams to get in.
Like, wait, why didn't you show them the chart?
I should have.
Have all the spots right here.
I should have had a PowerPoint and brought this up. My fault next time. But then someone in the car was like, what about Notre Dame? I was like, there you go. Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the one that throws a wrinkle in all of it. Notre Dame will force 4 SEC teams if they are in. If Notre Dame loses, then maybe you get a 5th.
Wow. Sounds like you gave a real rousing speech. You just ran through playoff hypotheticals for an hour.
No, I'm saying that was part of it.
No, I know. I'm fucking with you, dude. I'm mad. Okay. I'm jealous.
They loved it. They loved it. They want me back next year. And I said, only if I get TBob with me.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what, guys? That's literally what he told me last year.
When?
That's literally last year after you did this shit. Next year, I'm going to tell him both of us are going.
I haven't done this in 3 years.
Oh, that was 2 years ago when you first did this?
Yeah.
Remember, we were doing this show the first time you went to the Daytona Touchdown Club. I didn't realize that was 2 years ago. Wow, we've been doing this for a long time, bro. Oh, well, I'd say that was informative and fun. If you agree, please hit the like button, sub, and we'll see you next time for some more snaps.